Yes.
Hello. Welcome back to a new episode of Mousy Talk. Today we have an English episode, the first time, and I'm here with a really special guest, my dear friend and artist, Consuelo, mi amor.
Yeah, but it's in
Hola.
Spanish. Next time we do it in Spanish.
Sí, claro. No, I think I'm not ready for this. I will just sit there and say, sí, claro, sí, sí.
But it would be the same if we would do it in German. Then I would be like, yeah.
Don't. That's not your qualities in speaking German are way much more better than this.
At some point, if we do further episodes, we can try to do one half and half, maybe. Half in
that's-
Spanish, half in German.
That's a good idea. So people can learn German and Spanish and undertitle in English then.
Yeah, maybe people would understand only half. You know, like half the episode will be possible to understand for Spanish-speaking people, and half the episode would be possible to understand for German-speaking people.
Yeah, that's kind of a good idea. But today we're doing it in English. And I'm really happy that you're here because I was looking so to it that you came into my podcast because you're a really special person for me as a friend and as an inspiration and as someone I talk deeply and I love to talk about everything. Like I have always something to talk with you about it.
Yeah.
And I love what you're doing. I love how you perceive the world. I love the way you are communicating and using metaphors for talking about every topic we could talk of.
Thank you all.
And we have nice drinks. We were in a Spanish and in Latino shop. And what is this actually?
It's a Brazilian drink based on I don't know if it's a Brazilian fruit, but it's a fruit that is quite popular in Brazil, guarana. And it's a soda, but it's kind of also it's not an energy drink, but it's a very energetic soda.
Oh, maybe we need this because I'm a bit tired.
Me too. So we're gonna try it out. I haven't tried it in many, many years. It's really popular there. And I think, I'm not sure, but I think guarana, one of the properties or benefits of guarana is that it's actually quite energizing, like mate a little bit. So that's why this drink is not especially an energy drink, but it is in a way like club mate in terms of the fruit that it's based on brings you a lot of energy.
I would love to open it up now before
do it.
starting. Oh my god. A little last I'm afraid to open it with my nails.
I can do it for you.
Yeah. Which one you want to try?
I don't care. We can try both. I mean, I would let's try both.
Yeah.
No?
Prost.
Prost. Salud.
Salud.
Okay, you're trying the full sugar. I'm trying the zero sugar. The zero sugar is actually quite sweet.
This is also really sweet.
Okay.
I cannot really explain this, the taste of it, but it's interesting, in a good way. It tastes like grape,
Yeah.
but also like lychee.
Lychee.
See,
What's that?
it's this little fruit where it has a big kern, but it's sweet.
I don't know it.
Lychee.
No, maybe it's right. Just that I don't know it.
This one is sweeter.
Yeah, it is.
The zero is kind of perfect.
You like it better? I expected the zero one to be much less sweet, but it turns out that it's not super less sweet.
Yeah, but I think, they use sweetener, which is always sweet, same sweet as sugar. Azul.
Yeah.
Azur?
Azúcar?
Azúcar, sí.
Yeah. Yeah. It's difficult to describe.
I like
somehow.
it though.
Yeah.
Because it has not really a taste, but it's I like it.
Yeah, it's nice. It's super refreshing. Like, I don't know, like in Brazilian summer where it's so hot, it's just really refreshing to have something that is somehow light. Like, it's really sweet, but also very light.
Light. Yeah, it's perfect
Yeah.
for summer. But so you are here in my podcast because I appreciate you a lot as an artist and as a person. And I would love that you share what you do, who you are, and yeah, who are you, Consuelo? Tell us.
Oh my God, that is such a difficult question. It's like, who am I?
It's like the question we talk about every day, you know, it changes every day. But
Yeah.
what are you doing? Like, you don't need to do a shortcut. I want to hear everything, you know?
What am I doing, like, as an artist, you mean?
Yeah.
Okay.
And, you know, where you from?
Okay.
Everything you want, tell us.
I feel like we would need so many hours for it. But
Yeah, we can do some episodes. We'll just start today.
Like a series.
Yeah. Who is Consuelo?
somehow it's a very deep question,
Yeah, I
you know?
know.
But yeah, Mousy Talk is about deep questions, right?
Yeah.
Should I hold it or yeah? As an artist, I am at the moment working on some, like, it's a long-term process of research that started when I started studying art. At some point something opened up and it hasn't closed up ever since, so I'm like still on it, and it has been somehow like a long process of exploring things, you know. So in the beginning, like, I was exploring, I don't know, different techniques or different paths to, like, creative paths or theoretical paths, or, like, I don't know, different areas of art that I would like to find out. Also different disciplines, like, I don't know, image or sound. And at some point, something opened up in the way of sculpture, kind of, which is, when, as you know, like, contemporary art is never one thing only, but somehow the dialogue between different things, like, in a nutshell. And the way I studied art was quite based on that combination, like really intentional about crossing things and crossing disciplines and make different techniques or layers of things establish dialogue. So as I was learning art through that perspective, I ended up crossing things myself. So at some point, I started, like, digging deeper into this, what happens when a form, like a 3D form, like a body of something, changes. And what does it mean in terms of, like an art process that involves a piece of art that is not staying the same, but mutating and transforming over time. So, like, then how important is the original form or the final one, but rather how important is the process that this form A suffers into getting to form B. So it turns out that this is a very thick and complex world that I didn't, like, I don't know, I did not think that it would be so rich and so deep and so so extensive, so wide. I just kind of started, like, I got interested in it, and then I got more interested in it, and then I got deeper and deeper, and the deeper I went, somehow the more I realized, wow, this shit is much deeper than I actually can perceive, grasp.
Yeah.
So I decided to, like, okay, what else is there, you know? And I'm still there somehow, you know?
Yeah. And I think, like, for the people watching this and not knowing what you exactly do or how it looks like. So I think the first time I saw your art, which I found really interesting about is, as you explain it now, it's kind of you're using, like, materials you would use in every day, like salt or sugar, which was, or what was your last product it was sugar, right? No, it was salt.
Salt.
Yeah, and then you would quite do an installation that changes over time and changes the way how it looks, and the whole process is basically the art. It isn't about just the how it looked on the day of presentation, but how it changes over time. So it's really like working with the material, but also taking it as something that lives and that changes. And it's like so near to like human experience and to things that are breathing, living, and changing. And it's like so philosophical about it, because it's like not seeing it as something that is like stable or stays like this, which I find often in art,
Yeah.
but more of something that is like really the process of changing and living and falling apart, building up, and still like also like salt, like when salt changes, like it grows kind of.
Yeah, it does.
So it's not just falling, it's also growing. And that's something that is like really nice and really diverse from the art I've experienced in my life. So I would love to know, like, when was the first time that you knew that you are an artist and want to be an artist?
Oh, that's kind of crazy because so like there's one way to tell that story that is like the logical one, and then there's the illogical one.
I want to hear the illogical one.
Okay. So like yeah, I was in a point in my life where I studied something else, and then I realized that yeah, it was not what I wanted to do with my life. And like while studying that, I already knew that, but once I finished and I was working as a journalist, I was just not what I wanted to do, right? And then I decided to take like a workshop with two artists that came to my hometown in Chile. And they were offering this workshop open for everybody. You know, it was not a workshop meant to be for artists. It was an art workshop where we were going to develop an exhibition, but it was not meant to be only for artists. So I thought, yeah, okay, like I can see and go. And I guess what I took from that workshop was the fact that, yeah, that exactly, that you don't need to like know something that is obvious or like is cliche even because everybody knows that. But in a way, it's not like it's a basic idea, and at the same time, it's not that simple to grasp. The fact that you don't need to study art to be an artist, right? And like, yeah, we all theoretically we know that, but in a practice or like in an emotional level, maybe it's difficult to like really integrate. And doing that workshop, I kind of realized that I was doing what an artist do without having studied that, you know? And I was already in the art scene because like I was always interested in that. So working as a journalist, I was already in the art scene somehow. So I thought, okay, I'm already somehow in this world, but now I'm like being part of this world from a different role, you know, as a producer now, as an artist. So that somehow opened up like a very long chain effect or like a domino effect where one thing really pushed the next one and pushed the next one. And the logical part of the story is that once I decided to study art, to like go to Argentina and get this master degree in art, I somehow one day I just remember somehow I had that memory back in my mind. I don't know, 20 years after, that when I was a kid, or maybe even more years after, I must have been 4 or 5. It's a really early memory in general. And I was telling my mom, when I was a kid, I was really into, what's the name of that? this is Play-Doh, like in
Yeah.
what's an Fimo?
Yeah, I think it's like soft and you can, but you cannot put it in the oven, right?
No, no, no.
No, it's
yeah.
just like I think it's Play-Doh. You just like you it's like really soft, and then you can make different forms, but then you can just like, and then it looks like a ball or something, you know?
Yeah, and it has like different colors.
Yeah,
blah, blah, blah.
yeah, and then you can mix it, and at the end it looks just brown
Yeah.
and shit.
I did that too. Yeah, exactly. And I was really into that, like super into that. And like for many years in my childhood, I was really into it. And I was not the kid that would like draw or that would, I don't know, what other kids do. I was never into drawing and I was never good at drawing. But I was super into Play-Doh and I was good at it. I could, I don't know, like, I remember I would spend time replicating things. I would see a lamp, then I would make a tiny lamp out of Play-Doh or like, I don't know, whatever, like things.
So how you kind of perceive the world, you would kind of use Play-Doh to simulate it, to to play with it.
Yeah, yeah. And like I really had fun doing it. And because I was so into that as a child, then when I decided to go study art, then that memory somehow came to mind. And then I called my mom and I was like, Mom, do you remember that I told you this? Because the memory was that I was sitting in the kitchen with my mom and I was telling her that I wanted to be a sculptor, like as a grown up, that I wanted to be a sculptor. And I even used the word escultora in Spanish, which is not an artist, it's not any artist, it's the artist who do sculpture. So it was like somehow really precise in a way for like a 5-year-old kid. And at the same time, it was like specific, you know, like I wanted to do that as a grown up. And somehow it was really insane. Yeah, it could have been any comment as a child, right?
Yeah.
But that like 20 plus years after would make sense because I was actually going to do that exactly. I was like, wait, this is really crazy that as a 5-year-old, I had this vision and now it's like something that is becoming more than a vision, but actually something, a project, you know? Yeah.
I lost the focus. What was my question? No, what was actually the question? Yeah, how you started doing it. And what I found really interesting is that, as you said, that when you were a child, you were already like saying what you want to do without taking notice of it, because like as a children you say a lot of things, but like still I believe that we have like this inner child feeling of having fun for things, and and like a soul path we continue going to or growing to, and no matter what life brings, that sometimes we come back to that plan, like it's something that is just in us. And I would love to know if, because I mean, you also came here from Chile and Argentina to Germany, and have you like working as a sculptor in Argentina, or was it like really starting in coming to Germany? And also, what I would love to know is how you do your projects, how you come to your ideas, what fascinates you the most about it. And I would love to go back to this, what you said about I was an artist without studying art, because I think that's something that brings like so many people away from doing art, because they think it's something that you need a title for, that, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
That it's something you need to study to do it, even if like being creative is like such a big part of us human beings. But that was a lot of questions, so I think my first question was about your coming to Germany and how your roots maybe influence your art.
Yeah. Like, okay, if I was doing something like a sculpture before coming to Germany, yes. Like, while studying in Argentina, as I said, the way I learned art in this program was really with the focus on crossing disciplines. And eventually I was in one specific seminar where I needed to like intentionally cross some things, connecting some form of technology in between. And during that time, I these kind of things, they're normally random, or like in my case at least, or in the way that I've dived deeper and deeper in this world, like in the world of making art, I've always got proven over and over that it's just super random in the end, because I just like I was living in a WG, like in a shared flat, and one of my roommates back then, she was working somewhere, and I don't know, in that office they wanted to get rid of an overprojector like this, from the 90s.
Yeah,
This like
you would use it at school. Like every school room in Germany where I grew up have had a project like this thing.
yeah, like the
Oh,
90s
yeah,
analog kind
yeah.
of technology
With
of
this little foil you would put on, and then you would go in front and say like, "And so you do it."
yeah. So the thing is, these machines, they work with a big lamp, right? So that's
yeah.
the way they project, like with
Yeah.
some mirrors, blah blah blah, but with a lamp. And the lamp, because it's a very old technology, of course there was no LED technology available and so on. It's a lamp, like literally like a lamp. So it gets really hot. At some point when when you have that machine on for a long time, it gets very hot because the lamp is very strong. And yeah, randomly enough, her office wanted to get rid of that. So she was like, "Hey guys, does somebody want this? Because they want to throw it out and it's actually working out. Like it's working fine." And I was like, "Yeah, like bring it home. Like or I'm gonna go pick it up. I don't know. Like let's see." Like I didn't have a clear idea with it at all, but I thought, it's a working machine. Why would we throw it out? We will find something to do with it, right? Yeah, and we got it home, and then I started like playing with it again in this like really non-professional nor not expert kind of approach. More like, yeah, let's see, like in the same way that you play with the Play-Doh when you're 4 years old, then you have a machine in front of you, and it's like, yeah, let's see what's possible with this shit, like let's explore it. And it's a bit playing, but more from this curiosity of like, what can be done with this, like what's possible with this. And then I tried many things, like I don't know, I would sit in the dining room, like in the table from my flat with the machine on, and then I would try, I don't know, I would try some glasses. Oh, they look very cool. I would try some textures, like, I don't know, any kind of different textures. Oh, it looks really cool, like the details, and you can adjust the focus. Fun, fun, fun. And then I tried a block of ice, like an ice cube. And then I realized that, it looks really cool because it's transparent, because the light goes through it, and then it's starting to melt really fast because it's so hot. And then I was like, ooh, wait, this is interesting. And I was, I'm interested in this. Because, yeah, the process, like, then somehow something activated around the process that really, like, caught me, like, really catch my eye. And, like, yeah, I just fell in love with it immediately. And I was like, okay, what is possible with this now? How can it happen? With what can it happen? In which way? How long? Blah, 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 blah. And then I started trying many, many things with ice. And then I landed on my first work. Just in the end, what I study right now, what I research right now, and what I produce right now.
I want to try this
Alfajor.
alfajor.
Muy bien.
It's with coconut.
Yeah. And dulce de leche, and the cookie is made out of, how can I explain? I don't know the name in German or in English. It's called Maizena, or like that's the brand, but
it's really good.
How would you describe it?
Really soft. Mm, kind of milky. The coconut is not that strong. Mm, and also, still at the end, it's really nice. I like it. You?
It's a bit dry too, isn't it?
Yeah, but when you like bite it and with the cream, it's okay. Okay, I just forgot.
It fits very well with mate, sorry. Because it's like it.
I just want to drink
It's
that.
also something that comes together. So it's not bad that it's a bit dry because then you drink so much mate with it. So it's kind of they
I
fit
love mate. That's something
very much.
you showed me too. But before I go to that topic, I you were like telling me about this thing with the projector and the eyes, and I realized you said like it was really random, but kind of I have the feeling when I hear your stories that everything was kind of random, but still wasn't random.
How come?
Because you had these moments in your life where you would like play with Play-Doh and stuff, coming back to the sculpture, experiencing things and stuff that were kind of random, but all also bring you to this point of your life, you know?
Yeah.
So sometimes I'm just questioning if things really are that random.
Yeah, I mean, how can you know that, right? Like you end up searching stuff for maybe for a reason that in the beginning was random, and then you end up diving deeper into the same search, and then you're kind of searching for the next clue, and then at what point is random and at what point you're looking for it, right?
What makes you the most exciting by perceiving your art, or what is like this kick in you that brings you further, exploring the things you are doing as an artist?
Oh, that's a very good question. Like if I answer with my gut, like right now I'm like
it.
hearing your question, and like what comes to my mouth
That's
is
what I want to hear. The gut, the gut.
is having a question, like wondering about something, it's like I don't know, like I see something that makes me wonder, oh, how would this react with that? Or like, what would happen if I put 250 liters of milk in a place? What would happen? It's like to see something and wonder, or like what would happen if I leave this piece of caramel in the sun? It's gonna melt. That's the first answer, and that's like okay. But then what would happen if this would be part of a process that is just putting these elements in dialogue with a certain hypothesis? So in the end, the whole process revolves around an hypothesis that I formulate out of a question. So like I wonder about something, I wonder about a material, I wonder about a process, I wonder about a possible result, but I don't know that result. So the whole process consists of many, many, many days in the atelier, trying out how can I make that happening to find out what would happen. It's like, how can I put these elements together and let them interact to find out what's going to be the result, how it's going to look like, what's going to produce, what's going to cost, what's going to happen between them, And those days in the atelier are like the most important part of it, because then I get to know the material, I get to understand what's possible with it in the same way as I did it with the projector, like what's possible with this machine, then what's possible with sugar, what's possible with salt, what's possible with gelatin, what's possible with whatever, with ice and so on. And than what's possible in connection with something else. And so many of those days are like about failure. Like, because most of the time I'm gonna try something out that is not gonna work out, like I'm gonna try cotton candy, and I'm gonna build something that is like I don't know, 2.5 meters thick. And then after 3 weeks trying it out, I'm gonna find out that it's not possible because of the thickness, because of the length, because of the speed on disintegration, because of the, I don't know, many elements that I'm only finding out while I'm trying it. So most of the time, that time in the atelier is experimentation. So, but like failed experiments, one after another, until something works out. And then it's like, oh, okay, I found this. And this is like a new finding, and it's there in front of me. Like, okay, I landed somewhere. Let's do something with it.
So first things first, I love like when you talk about your art, I love that I see like this shining in your eyes because it's like your inner child being so excited about exploring. And I think this, as you like tell me the things like that are the things that like kick in, or like why you love to do that, it's like things that I see in children that are exploring the world by trying things out, and then we often forget these things when we grow up.
Yeah.
Because we lose this interest in exploring, and like failing becomes something that we don't want to do.
Yeah.
And we just focus on not failing. And I think the way you describe your art, like there are so many things that I love about it, is first because like I know there are a lot of perception about art, but the first thing is we always, like I often experience art as the most important thing being the result, the thing you see. Which I love about your art is saying that it isn't the result you're seeing, it's the whole process you're seeing, and that it changes. I love that about it because it, like, I experience life in so many ways, not being about the goal, but about the process.
Yeah.
And I often find what I love about art is like taking something from it and seeing something in that.
Yeah.
And what I take from your art is that it isn't always about the goal, but it is about the process. It's about this changing. It's about exploring. And I love that about this. Like, it just like, I love that that's your approach of art.
Thank you.
I love that it's about exploring. It's about failing. Because that says so much about your personality. Because like, I think most of people would fail and would stop. But you failing and failing and failing, but that brings you to any result. If that's even saying that doesn't work out, and that's so like inspiring in so many levels.
Thank you.
And yeah, I love that.
Thank you.
And the other thing was, I forgot. I mean, this drink makes me energized, but my brain is.
I'm like pumped up somehow.
Yeah.
It's like, wow, okay, like I'm definitely like excited about talking about my art, but like the drink is definitely kicking in too.
No, but also, I as I said before, I love that you're using materials that are kind of also available that you wouldn't see as art.
Yeah, true.
Because these are things you would use in everyday life. Like, I use salt every day. I use sugar every day.
Yeah.
Like, it's something that is like part of every day.
Yeah.
And I think that brings also this new approach of like art as something that is everywhere. You know, it isn't like elitaire. Like, it's like everywhere. You can use everything. And I love this about that.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's also like from a aesthetic point of view, I think it's maybe it's possible to find some artworks, especially like in the contemporary context, where I don't know, this idea of like super big installations or like super big scale productions that would involve something that is very simple or very daily in a super multiplied, super large scale way. I think that is possible to find, but as you say, is somehow brought into a level that makes it from the technical aspect or from the concept, from the curatorial approach or frame, somehow makes it look elitistic. And I feel like I don't know if I ever find myself producing in those levels. I don't know if I'm gonna end up doing the same or not. But at the moment, I'm not in that level, and I'm a person who's still finding out and studying. And I feel like for many different reasons, I feel like my tries at the moment are very much focused on the process rather than the how aesthetic is gonna look, how big scale is it gonna be presented, and maybe as I'm much more interested in the process or much more interested in the phenomenon that is happening in the material transformation, then maybe for me at the moment it's really crucial to have in the core that process rather than the material that I'm using. So I was somehow thinking of our conversation now and coming back to something that you said that it was just really relevant that I wanted to come back to also.
The material?
No, you said something like that it was super in the core of my production to fail and to try out and to having the focus on the process. It was also like this non successful result, but rather the process itself, and sometimes this failing process. And all that is true, but it's not that I don't struggle with that, even me, I could choose to work in whatever, and I end up kind of randomly or not, depending on how we want to look at it, I end up working with things that often challenges me. Like the things that I work with, they challenge me and they trigger me and they put me against the wall plenty of times, like most of the time I would say. Because although I know that the focus is on the process, and that's my main interest too, and as I know that I'm exploring this and I don't have the ultimate truth and I'm not the expert on this topic and I'm not placing myself in the position of like, I'm going to grab this material and I'm going to do whatever I want because I'm the genius, because I'm the artist, because I'm the creative. Like the material is going to subordinate to what I want to do with it. Even though I don't place myself in that position and I really try to understand the language of that material that I don't know because it doesn't belong to art, because it belongs to the kitchen, because it belongs to other places of life.
That's the thing I love about it, yeah.
But even though I struggle in the process, it's not like, I'm so creative and cool that I don't mind if it doesn't work out. Like plenty of times I find myself in the week number 3, number 5, number 7 of something failing. I really find myself thinking oh my God, why am I doing even this shit? Like, why am I wasting my time and my money and my energy day after day coming to the atelier trying to find this out and it's not fucking working out? Maybe I should just drop it. Or when I find something that works out and I want to scale it somehow in an artwork, like the process of finding what is possible to do with a material and then developing an artwork with it, it's another it's a different step. So most of the time, or many times, I find myself trying to scale this finding into an artwork. And many times it's challenging because even though I know that, and even though this is my work, sometimes I really get annoyed that things wouldn't go in the way I imagined they should go.
Yeah,
It's like,
I totally get it.
then I
Yeah.
need to like come back to it and say like, okay, you might have your expectations with it,
But the
it's not
material,
about that.
yeah. And also, like, that's what also so cool about it, because the material is like, it lives. So it cannot go with your expectation because it has its own nature.
Yeah.
And I still like, and I think like going back to that and realizing that over and over again is like, it says so much about, you know, life itself.
Yeah.
Like you can put any expectation on it, but if that has its own living, its own, you know, way of being, you can put whatever expectation on it. It will always be different. And what I want to ask you though is like, I mean, if you have this moment of like failing and being like, fuck this shit, I don't want to do it anymore. Like, what brings you back of like saying, I will continue doing that? Because that's so hard to, you know, it's like kind of the question I said before, like, what's the kick of bringing you back? But like, what helps you in this moment to say like, I like that's like I'm so passionate about it that I want to continue doing it because it, you know, it's, I would love to hear that. I think it would help also a lot of people because it's not always easy.
No.
It's not always like you're not failing, but I think these moments are so important to just go back and yeah.
Well, again, it's a super good question. I don't know if I have like a good answer for it because it really depends on yeah. Sometimes it really when I'm setting up an artwork for an exhibition, it really gets super intense because of the nature of the materials that I work with. As you said, whenever I'm gonna show an artwork, I need to produce it right before the opening of the exhibition because it's a temporary work. I cannot produce a work 2 years in advance and then just send it in a truck to a city and then forget about it. I need to be there working on it, making it right before the exhibition is open, so people can see it right off the oven, you know. And so normally the days of a setup in an exhibition for me are especially intense because all the work from months, sometimes from years, really like encapsulates on this 5, 7, 3 days, whatever, where I'm working nonstop. So yeah, I don't sleep anymore, I don't eat anymore, and like many things of the daily life, they really move to the least important place. And I really dive super deep into the production because I produce myself everything. And within those moments, obviously, like emotions are super high and stress is really high and the pressure is really high and the expectations come and say like, hey, we want to be in this party too. So it's like, okay, give me one fucking break, please. And it's not possible. So the times that I've confronted that things right before the opening are showing me that whatever my expectations were are not gonna be satisfied. I've found myself in that position. You know what? Fuck this shit. Fuck this shit. Like I'm fucking dying here. Why am I even doing this? Like I could go to my home and chill. I don't need to be doing this. Like there's no need for me to suffer like this, you know? And I think talking to people for me is extremely relevant. It's a very important part of my creative process in general, not only in that moment, but also throughout the whole process. When I'm wondering about something, when I'm having questions about a material or a process or a reaction or whatever dialogue that I think it could work as an artwork, I talk about it with my friends from the art scene, with friends from everywhere, with my prof. Like in general, I talk about it because it really fits me back to hear other perspectives. Or in the exercise of talking about it, I really like organize my thoughts and like I become more clear, practical, or I have a more concrete vision of, okay, this is the way I can try, or this is the way to go. And in the same way, when I find myself in the verge of saying like, fuck this shit, talking with people always helps me to come back to the same thought that in the end it's like, what has to be out of this work is not going to be your expectations, because your expectations are not in the game right now. Because it's not about me, and it's not about what I expect, and it's not about me as an artist. I place myself like I place myself from a distance from the work, in terms of that I'm not the one organizing what you're witnessing in the context of an exhibition, but rather what I organize were different elements that are going to interact on their own. So the transformation process and the performance itself, as I call it, it's a performance that occurs beyond me and outside of me. I'm not part of that performance. The material is.
I love
the
that.
conditions are.
Yeah.
Not me.
And they're not always the same. They are changing. I mean,
Yeah.
you cannot control how the humidity in one room is.
Yeah.
You cannot control how many people are breathing in one room. You cannot control the temperature in some ways.
Yeah.
These are all things that are occurring all the time differently.
Yeah.
And you cannot, you don't know how the material will react on this day. So
And that's part of it.
and that's part of it. And it's kind of like, for me, it's like a metaphor for the everyday. Because that's like, in my everyday life, I would experience that are so many things that occur outside of my being that I cannot control, you know? And that I learn from that, just letting it be.
Yeah.
Because, you know, I cannot control it, and I need to let it go.
Yeah.
Like, you know, and I think that's what, like, also is, like, one big purpose of art is, like, activating these thoughts by looking at something or by working with it. Like, bringing it back to the people perceiving the art.
Yeah.
And thinking how they can, like, put it in part of their identity or their life. And that's something I see when I think about your art. And that we have often in our talks, you know?
Yeah, absolutely.
Like, like the material and the conditions and everything, it's something that is like, it's like the flow of life. It's just happening. It's just changing. And
Yeah. And I mean, just to add on that, I feel like there's also a connection with what you're saying about like life, in the way I confront myself to this moment of, okay, should I just quit now or should I just continue? Which is something that I think I also try to do, not every time with a lot of success, but I try to do in life in general as well, which is like, okay, if I quit right now in this point of this work, and I picture myself, okay, what am I going to do the hour after, the day after, the week after? Am I going to let this go and just be okay with it? Am I going to be happy with it? Am I going to be okay with it, like satisfied with it? Or am I going to keep wondering how would have turned out? How would have worked out? What would have happened? If the answer normally is like, yeah, I don't care, I can keep living without knowing what was going to happen, then yeah, okay, then I quit. But so far, it has never been the case. Every time that I wonder, oh, fuck, I'm so tired. This is just really like such an uphill, endless way. Should I quit? And then always the answer is like, yeah, of course I could quit right now. But the minute I do, I'm going to be wondering, how would I've ended up being this? Like, how would this work? How would this work look like? What would have happened with it? What was the end of this process if I didn't really come to an end with it? So often it's like, yeah, I don't know what the fuck is going to happen, but I will find out, I guess. So in the end, yeah, okay, it's like somehow keep walking and see one step after another and see where it goes. But yeah, it's not easy.
Yeah, but I love this about this because it's like, you know, it's you choose every day to do this. You choose that that's the life you want to live, and it's so much commitment to a thing that from some perspective could be like, why? Why being so hard? Why continuing suffering in kind of ways? But because of this glimmer, because of this kick, this knowing of the unknown, wanting to know the unknown, and this own satisfaction for yourself, and the happiness you experience by doing it, I think that's so much reason to do it.
Yeah.
Because like if you talk about it, like I see that it makes you so happy. I see it when you have your exhibitions. I see it when I see you in the atelier or saw you before. And it's also like kind of connection with the inner child by dapping into it, by trying it, by using your hands, by, you know, being the Consuelo that played with the Play-Doh.
Yeah.
And I think it's so important to connect with the inner child and perceive that in inner life for being more happy and being more in connection with ourselves, to find something in our life that touches this little glimmer.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
I mean, not everyone wants to be a full-time artist,
Yeah.
which I get, you know? But like having something in your life that gives you this feeling of, I want to like tap in.
Yeah.
I want to find out. I don't want to control everything. I just, you know, let it. It's so important.
Yeah, I agree. Yeah. Yeah, I feel like, I don't know, if in the end, because you know, doing art is nothing easy in general. Not only for me, like it's everybody knows that it's a difficult occupation in the world we live in. It's difficult to be autonomous and have a sustainable, possible life when you're an artist, and to have a financial stability and blah blah blah. So it's not an easy way of living, and it's not an easy decision to make. And it's not an easy occupation to have. And at least with the world of art, which is the one I know, I feel like if on top of all that, it wouldn't bring you any joy, any fulfillment, any self-reflection, any mirroring, anything back, then then it would be like just pure having an awful time all the time.
Yeah, but it's also like an experience with life. I mean, there is a reason why so many people want to live that life, even if it's kind of suffering and even if you're living on the edge. But I mean, it's kind of a new experience of living.
Yeah.
And there must be something about it, right?
Yeah, I think it's just, I don't know, in the way I experience myself and the way me and my artist friends talk about it, or what I hear from them, is more of I don't know, it's like a kind of being consistent and aligned and somehow transparent with who you are and what comes from within, you know. It's like, obviously none of us do this because it's going to bring us a lot of money. Obviously none of us does this because it's going to ensure us a super steady financial future. Nobody chooses to do this because of those reasons. So then why do we choose this, as you say? Yeah, because I think it's just, it really speaks deeply of who we are. It's just, yeah, I cannot really answer in any other way, because I would prefer to choose to be a successful engineering and like be fucking rich and having no one single worry in my mind. Yeah, but that's not who we are. So that's not who I am. So here we are.
Here we are. Let's take the camera for a second. Then.
Why?
I know, just because my phone died and I just want to take how much we talk. Yeah, I love this about our talk, and I find myself when talking with you and also about other topics that the way you perceive the world is always through the glasses of doing art not because because I studied art or something, but by that being an artist is more than just studying it. It's by how you live your life every day, how you see the world, how you interact with the world, with material, with other people. That doing art is not something you can just hang somewhere. It's like approach of life.
Yeah.
And yeah. And that, like, what I also want to say before we end this, that you don't need to be an expert.
Yeah. That's true.
Like, you don't need to be an expert of doing art. It's more an exploration of life, kind of.
Yeah. Yeah, I agree. It's really important. Like, although I struggle with that too, even until today. Yeah, I know many artists like that they are perceived as artists because they studied art. But I know many artists who studied art who are not artists. You know, like I don't know if I can if I'm clear enough. It's like studying art doesn't make you an artist in the same way that you don't need to study art to be an artist already. I feel like it's quite often the case that you would go to an exhibition and see art that wouldn't speak to you whatsoever, that wouldn't touch you, that wouldn't move you, that wouldn't cause any reaction whatsoever. And then there are millions of books and essays written about this issue, and for decades aesthetics and philosophics have been focused and attracted to this discussion. That's a complete another topic.
Oh no! I mean, today is just a clumsy day. I need to say it's not like
Clumsy day. Oh, pretty.
Mama, where were you?
I forgot,
Okay,
but it's okay.
Yeah, I mean, I think we were at the point that you said that a lot of people call themselves artists without being an artist, and I think it's because they act from the wrong reasons and not from an authentic self. And I think, I mean, I don't want to judge anyone, but I think producing art or being an artist comes from an authentic self, and doing it from the right reason and in reflection with the own personality and the own self. And that's so difficult sometimes.
Yeah.
So it would be easy if everyone would just call themselves an artist because they studied it, but it's so much harder to do it from a authentic standpoint.
Yeah, I agree.
Do you want to add something? In general, it doesn't need to have...
Yeah, no. I don't know. No. I feel like it's okay to be afraid of failing, and it's also okay to fail. Although it's a constant reminder. Like I have that constant reminder to myself as well. But yeah, that.
Okay, so I'm really happy that you were here, even if we had some complication with failing today, being really clumsy today. But to end this, I just want to say my whole appreciation for you as a person and as a friend and as an artist. You're really inspiring me in my every conversation I have with you just brings me sometimes to thoughts I never had before, because it digs deeper. Like the way you work as an artist is how you act as a friend too, by like not like you not give an answer like an answer. You see, like, when we're talking about something, you just go deeper and wondering. And I love that you as an artist and you as a friend are kind of having a same base of wondering. So thank you. And I mean, I could do like 100 Mousy Talks with you because I have so many topics that I think would be so inspiring for other people. I think like everything around us tells us that we need to stop. Like things are falling down, someone rings, whatever. But I'm really happy that you were here.
It was a beautiful episode.
It was beautiful because you're a beautiful person. I love you.
Me too.
And I hope I will get some cute cuts of your art so I can include them.
Of course.
See you guys. Bye.
Bye.
Bye. Bye.